Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fear Assembly. I am your host, Cole Harper, and joining me today is Jordan Dwayne and Bryan Starr. So today we're going to hit on a number of fun topics, upcoming horror films, as well as some classic horror films and movies that are a little bit older, let's say movies that came out 10 plus years ago. So to kick things off, Bryan, of all of the upcoming movies here on the latter part of 2026, which one are you most excited about? What's the one that you find yourself gravitating towards?
Yeah, I think at the very top of the list, for all movies, I wouldn't even say the horror genre, but for the rest of the year, right now, I have almost a tie between Clayface and Werewolf, which just so happens to be, a part of the horror genre. So I think that's
Mhm.
very exciting. But yeah, I mean, Robert Eggers back doing his own version of the Universal Monster universe, and then Clayface is DC's first jump into horror, like just true
Mhm.
horror, which is exciting because DC is dark like that, and they can pull that off. So super excited for both.
All right, Jordan. I think you would agree with those, right? I know Werewolf is probably
Yeah, I
higher on your
mean,
list,
it's
but
always just a giant circle circ for Robert Eggers on this podcast. I swear, it's all of us every time, and understandably so. But I mean, obviously, I can't wait for Werewolf. That's my number one. It has been since it was announced, so that's
Mhm.
been my number one. I just saw the trailer today for Wicker. Did you
Mhm.
guys see this?
Oh no,
I
that
didn't.
I think that just came out today. The trailer.
It just came out today. I will tell
Yeah.
you, I laughed out loud at the trailer. So I know that it's gonna be good. I think it's just a, dark, like, fairy tale type,
Mm.
I don't wanna give too much away if you haven't seen it, but definitely go check out the trailer. It was funny for sure. It's got Dinklage, it's got Alexander Skarsgård. It's gonna be funny, I think.
All
Cool.
right, and when does that come out? Do you know offhand?
Oh my gosh, if you held a gun to my head right now, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, usually the trailer drops like 2 3 months before it
Right.
comes out, and then they'll put tickets on sale usually like a month before. So,
Yeah, it's probably
but
fall. It looks like a fall movie.
okay.
Winter. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of trailers that have come out, the Other Mommy trailer finally came out and was available on digital. It was originally only playing in theaters, I think, before things like Evil Dead Burn and some of the other big horror films that have already come out this year. But have either of you seen the Other Mommy trailer and have thoughts?
I did. I saw, like, the one scene, I just kept seeing everyone play it over and it's Jessica Chastain, right? So,
Mhm.
she's, like, all twisted, like, she kinda
Hmm.
looks like, kinda like a spider when you squish it and the legs are all kinda like that, like, that's what
Hmm.
she looks like in the trailer. I must have seen that clip 50 times. So,
Yeah.
I saw that much. She's a great actress, so as little as I know about that script, yeah, I'll probably go see it. It's probably gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I was lucky enough to be at CinemaCon when Universal shared the trailer months ago, and that jump scare got everybody, like the whole
Hmm.
packed theater. So when I went to go see the Odyssey, which I saw twice, it was fun for me because I knew it was coming and I know that these people did not.
Hmm.
And so I kind of just, took in the environment when as it was happening, and the poor elderly lady next to me, I thought she was a goner for sure because everyone there, like, it's the Odyssey. It's not a horror film, even though it definitely has some creepy elements. Majority probably not horror fans, and
Hmm.
the fact that they shared that before that was so fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, originally it absolutely got me. So yeah.
I was
All
gonna say,
right.
speaking of Odyssey trailers, did you guys see the one with Robert Pattinson playing Chris Hansen?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
Dateline
Rob
NBC.
Pattinson is playing Chris Hansen, the Dateline guy, and I swear, like, he's such a good actor, but his voice work is actually wildly impressive. If you haven't seen The Boy and the Heron, watch it. He
Mhm.
plays the heron, but also he sounds just like Chris Hansen.
Yeah.
Like, it's creepy. I can't wait to watch that one.
Mm. Well, I want to get your take, Brian, on Odyssey as well, just because I know
Mm.
that's currently in the zeitgeist. But the other movie that I'm looking forward to that comes out in a couple weeks as of this recording is Ice Cream Man, and that's going to be in over 2,000 theaters first weekend in August here. So that's to me kind of kicking off spooky season. I don't know when you guys start
Mm.
thinking about Halloween and playing dress up and getting the rooms decorated and getting all the inflatables out. Um, into your
Who
yard
did
or in
Ice
the
Cream Man?
windows. So that's Eli Roth,
It's Eli
and
Roth. Okay, that's what I
yeah,
thought. That's the new
and
Eli Roth one. Yeah, that one's gonna
mhm.
be fun.
Yeah, and so Iconic has been handling the theatrical release, which is the same group that did Terrifier and a number of other
Mhm,
big horror films. So, we'll see where that goes, but it just looks like a lot of fun. And the folks that have seen the early screeners said that it is just a wild, wild movie. So obviously a crazy trailer as well. Anytime you have kids running around eating brains out of their principal, and things like that, you know what you're in for. But yeah, there's a lot that's coming out, so plenty of things to
mhm,
discuss. So before we get too much into horror, Brian, tell us your takeaways of the Odyssey. Obviously, you love it because you
mhm.
saw it twice. Was the second
Yeah.
take better? How does this kind of rate for movies that you've seen this year? How does it rate in terms of the Christopher Nolan ladder of his great films?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, saw it twice, saw it on opening night for me. I was this close to getting to the premiere. I had the right connection and everything, and it's just so did everyone else. But that's okay. It's fine. I got to see it at my theater, which was not anything special. It was the bigger screen that we have. It's just
Hmm.
I have 2 hours away is the closest IMAX 70 millimeter that I could check out. But I'm not, like I understand it's nice to see movies how they're intended to be seen, but I think it just seeing the movie is the more important thing. So that's that. But yes, I saw it and I liked it, but I didn't love it the first time.
Okay.
And so much so to where I actually had a second screening the following morning and decided to just sleep in and skip it. Got my
Hmm.
refund and I was like, I'll revisit it soon. Cause I kept hearing from a lot of people that the second watch was better for everybody. Everybody's
Hmm.
scores went up, uh, everybody I heard from. And so I knew that I needed to see it a second time because with Christopher Nolan, watching it once is never enough. Especially with films like Tenet, for instance.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I did go the following morning at 8 a.m. I put in the time
Hmm.
to go do that, and I'm so glad that I did. Every issue that I had with it the first viewing is mostly gone.
Hmm.
I think it's fantastic. It's a great adaptation. It's very much Christopher Nolan's adaptation. And yeah, it's really something. It's special because I was raised on my dad's a literary professor, so I was raised on Greek mythology. I still have my little books that I feel like everyone had growing up. These I think Penguin classics. But
Hmm.
last night, actually, my dad finally got to see it, and we spent an hour talking about the movie. And
Hmm.
he's way more knowledgeable about that. He literally teaches it. I had to read the Iliad 3 times in college because of the different classes that I was involved with, and 2 of them he taught. But he's so much more knowledgeable. So it was fun to hear, like, well, they combined these storylines together with this
Hmm.
character, and just all the fun things that made me realize like how much detail and how much studying went on with Christopher Nolan, putting this script together because it's pretty dang impressive what he was able to pull off with all of that information. I think it's a wild ride. I wouldn't mind seeing it one more time in the way it's intended. So hopefully I
Hmm.
can make a trip somewhere to make that happen. But I highly recommend it. And as of now, my ranking in the Christopher Nolan filmography, there's 13. I have it at number 4, but I like weird Nolan more.
Hmm.
So that's why it's not at the top like with Oppenheimer or anything. I like the weird
So what's
stuff.
the top three then?
Yeah, top three is number 3 is Inception, number 2 Interstellar, number 1 is The Prestige.
Hmm. All right, fair, fair. Jordan, have you seen the great film
Christopher
as of
Nolan's
yet?
Odyssey. Yes, I
Yes.
have. I was
Okay.
very excited to see it. We
Mhm.
unfortunately also did not have
Yeah.
a true IMAX in my city or
Mm.
anywhere near us, so we had to settle for the Dolby Digital, which is
Yeah.
still it's a big screen, it's a good
Yeah.
screen. So we had a really great time. I am very familiar with the Greek mythology of it.
Yeah.
And so, and growing up, having seen all those, the Odyssey and Clash of the Titans and those things that I
Mhm.
was watching with my grandfather, like growing up in the 80s and 90s, I love movies like this. Like, this was an absolute joy for me. And I will say, all of the performances, like the ones that really stood out, surprisingly, John Leguizamo was
Mm,
fantastic. I
yeah,
really think, again, Robert Pattinson stood out. I think he will probably get nominated. Anne Hathaway was amazing. Elliot Page's performance actually brought me to tears. With that care, I don't want to spoil the scene, but
Mhm,
it's heart wrenching,
yeah.
and I think they all did such an amazing job, carrying these characters.
mhm,
And I will say that Ludwig Göransson, I think, is probably a shoe in for the Oscar for the score. And it's just visually stunning. It's beautiful. Everything was done with practical effects. My personal favorite scene is going to be a shocker to nobody who listens to this, and that's obviously going to be the witch Cersei when she transforms all of the soldiers into pigs,
Yeah.
because that's one of my favorite stories. Is when
mhm,
she does this, and I think a lot of the naysayers, I saw a lot of pushback online, like, "Oh, well, what would we transform you into if you were a woman?" And they don't get it. It's not that she chose to transform them into pigs. It's
mhm,
that she revealed what they already were. She revealed their true nature, and that's why there were
mm,
other animals on the island as well. We saw the tigers and the lions coming in, the deer in the field. Of course, that
mhm.
was another soldier. So she transformed them into the animals that they were. So I loved watching that scene, and the practical effects were just phenomenal. I will say that uh, the actress is definitely gonna get nominated. I think that she should win.
Alright. High praise. Well, I'm late to the party. I've not seen the movie yet, and I am a huge Christopher Nolan fan. So I will find a true 70 millimeter IMAX to take it in its proper glory. The one thing that stood out to me, just in terms of interviews and such that he was doing after, I'm pretty sure he said, Christopher Nolan, that he wants one of his next films to be a horror film, just for fun. And, obviously you think about like Memento, you could make a claim as kind of a horror film, but what would you feel your excitement would be if some random horror film, came out with Christopher Nolan at the helm? Would that be something that is even more exciting? Or would it be kinda how you felt about, Spielberg and Disclosure Day of like, "Okay, I'll check it out," but, don't necessarily have the highest hopes that it's gonna be something miraculous?
I'll watch anything Nolan touches.
Mhm,
That's pretty easy. I think Nolan just understands storytelling better than most in the way that it's presented. And so to get something from someone who is so talented, and I'm talking like otherworldly talented, the guy
mhm,
understands time better than anyone. And to put that and to put like the actual filmmaking technique toward telling a horror film, a scary story, I think would be amazing. I see a lot of people actually wanting him to do Dante's Inferno next, and as much as
mhm,
I think I would love that idea, I really do want Nolan to go back to his original stories,
mhm,
because they're just so much fun. My hot take, and I'm a big Batman fan. You can see I have a
mhm.
shelf of Batman behind me. All I collect is Batman. I got Clayface. I'm Batman right there. I love Batman. My hot take is we wasted Christopher Nolan's talent on Batman. As great as those movies are, I think most people think Dark Knight is the best Batman movie. As much as great as those are, I think we lost some stories to Batman. So I would love him to not do a James Bond, not do Dante's Inferno, do his own thing. And if it's a horror story, that's awesome.
Mhm. Alright. Well, speaking of the Batman universe, you brought up Clayface before. So, Jordan, where is that on your, hype chart in terms of movies that you wanna go check out? Is
Oh
that
my
really
gosh,
high up?
I didn't even know it was coming out.
Mm.
Was
Yeah, I
not
mean,
it
there's
was
just been
not on
some
my
very
radar.
light there's been some light promos to date.
Mhm.
The trailer came out, a couple weeks back, I wanna say, and it is creepy, but I wanna see, obviously, the full film to be able to say, "Okay, this is a true horror film versus just kind of a dark, fairy tale type of thing," right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't even seen that one yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. The nice thing is, Mike Flanagan wrote the screenplay, so that's very exciting, and it's based off of the animated episode, the two-part animated episode, Feet of Clay, featuring
Mm,
this guy right here. And so I think as especially as a Batman animated fan, because that's what I collect, I'm excited. But from what I've been told, they're going all in on the horror aspects, the body horror.
Hmm.
And so we will see. Obviously, it's DC, right?
Yeah.
It's a comic book company.
Hmm.
So I'm sure they are going to play it safe, but I hope not. I truly hope not.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean DC with the Batgirl, or not Batgirl, Supergirl, right? In that movie, I don't know if either of you saw that in theaters. My kids have that on demand as we
Yeah,
speak, so it's been playing in the background. I feel like for like a week straight. So they enjoy it quite a bit. But yeah, I want to see DC really lean into these darker stories because I
yeah,
think that's just more fun. Especially
yeah,
when you have these very well developed characters. Why not? Play with it. You don't have
yeah,
to rediscover and redo the lore. Just dive in.
yeah.
So excited about that. Any other upcoming movies that you guys wanted to touch on or that are exciting for you?
The new Resident Evil.
Okay,
Yeah, I
there you
feel
go.
like anything that's, like, taking place, because from what I saw, it's like a civilian, like, just, like,
Hmm.
smack in the middle of Raccoon City, right? Like, while it's happening, and this is during the 2nd Resident Evil, right? Like, that game, which I
So
remember that game.
it is
It's
actually not.
it's not what oh my
And
gosh.
and the only reason I know that is because I was lucky enough to be at San Diego Comic-Con last week at an event with Zach Kreger where he came out and laid it out and basically because there's not snow in that game. And so everyone was like, the snow, it doesn't match the story of and he went on a whole tangent about the snow, which was
Snow's usually
great.
for CGI, like, they add it.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, like the lead character, he has an iPhone at the beginning of this story. And then drives into Raccoon City, and of course loses the service, and so from there
Hmm.
on out, it turns into using regular landlines if they are even connected. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I forget where that idea started that it's during two, and
I
and
think
and
that was
people
just
just
the
kind of
thing I
went off with
saw.
it.
I was so
Oh, a lot of
excited because I was
people.
like, "I played that
Yeah,
game."
a lot of
Yeah,
people did.
yeah, I mean, I feel like a year ago, the leaks of what the story was going to be about started, and then they keep course correcting.
Yeah,
Then the true fans are getting upset because they're like, "Wait, you told us it's an adaptation, like you said,
yeah.
Jordan, of part two, but it's actually a whole new thing, just in the vein of Resident Evil." And I do think it's going to be fantastic once people see it and just kind of take it in for what it is. But yeah,
Mhm.
Zach Kreger really went off on everybody that kind of criticized his creative plan. He said, "Yeah, I just thought it'd be cool to have zombies in the snow, right?" So,
I feel like it's
let's
usually
see.
an editing choice with
Hmm.
the special effects team because if you make things and so I might ruin movies for some people when they hear this, but this is like a Hollywood tip, right? Because I knew a bunch of animators. If you ever see a scene where it's dark and raining, that's
Hmm.
because they didn't want to pay for more special effects. It makes it a lot easier to make it dark or raining or snowing.
Yeah.
That's a lot
Hmm.
cheaper to animate than it is daylight or anything like that. So especially like in battle scenes, you can always tell in Game of Thrones when a big battle scene's going to happen because it's dark and then all of a sudden it'll start raining and then you're like, "Oh, here comes the
Yeah.
battle."
Hmm.
Perfect
And so
timing.
the CGI team doesn't have too much work, which like understandably so.
Mm.
Yeah. But no, it was cool to hear Zach kind of talk about this lead character, and essentially the idea is he wondered, what would happen if I, Zach Kreger, was thrown into this. Yeah,
Hmm.
he wouldn't be like this. He wouldn't be this Leon Kennedy warrior, that knows how to use all the weapons and everything. He would be kind of a wimp, just
Hmm.
trying to survive. And so that's kind of the idea behind this character. It is an unfortunate soul who's been thrown into absolute chaos, and he's just doing everything he can to survive. And it's all the mechanics of Resident Evil, even the camera work. He said, if our character looks to the left, then our camera moves with him to look to the left as well. So kind of working with that first person POV. It was cool to hear him talk about it. And I just really loved when he went on the snow tangent. It was great. Stony was there and got to go like kind of rush the stage a little bit and get Zach in on a video. So I haven't seen the
Mm.
video yet, but I know it's about the snow. So it was fun to kind of catch up with him, but also I know Stony was fighting in the trenches for that movie when it was first announced, and so I'm excited
Mhm.
to see what that video turns into, because now he's got the director on behind him with behind his back on it all. So yeah.
Hmm. All right. We'll continue to watch Stoney's channel to see when that drops. I wanted to ask you guys, and I know you both have seen many horror films going back even decades. I mean, I'm still discovering many of the great, classic films, and I'm going back and watching some of the early vampire films. We've talked about werewolf movies as well in the past, but when I say, classic horror films, what are some of the movies that come to mind for you, Jordan?
Classic. Wow. I mean, if we're going
Hmm.
to talk about classic for me, I mean, you can't think about anything other than The Exorcist, The Shining, like
Hmm.
the classic Rosemary's Baby. Like to me, those are classics. Like
Hmm.
the ones that I grew up with, like that were scaring my parents at the time. Like those
Hmm.
are the ones that, the original It, things like that. Um, Modern classics, I think, are, oh gosh, I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street,
Hmm.
Friday the 13th, franchises, like all those slashers that we have now.
Hmm.
Um, Gosh, I could be here all day. This is tough. You put me on the spot again, Cole. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, no, no. I totally agree, and Halloween being the third kind of big three, as they
Yeah.
call it, in the industry, and obviously they're still making all those movies, and they're going to continue to adapt them. I think until people just say, no moss,
Yeah.
please stop making these. But Brian, how about you? When I ask, what are some classic horror films? What comes to your mind as somebody that's also deep in the trenches collecting, on top of just discovering, movies to this day, as we all are.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan kind of named them all,
Hmm.
because that's them. They're the greats. But what's been fun is not growing up on them myself,
Right.
because I'm new to the genre. At this point, I keep saying new, but at this point, we're like definitely a decade in to finally just like
Sure.
diving head in. But a lot of these classics that were just mentioned, I saw for the first time within this decade.
Mhm.
So I'm in my 20s by the time I'm revisiting some of these for the first time. Now, of course, I'm in my 30s. I don't know a world of growing up with the classics except for the ones that scarred me as a kid,
Mhm.
and I didn't watch until years later. But one of those being Child's Play 3,
Mhm.
and so revisiting that franchise as an adult was a blast. And I'm watching
Mhm.
the movie that scarred me as a kid, thinking like, this isn't bad at all. This is a ton of fun. It's entertaining.
Mhm.
I like this little guy. So it's been a fun journey for sure. But I mean, the one for me though is the one that just so addicted to is Halloween for sure. And
Mhm.
I still remember watching that the first time and just being like, yeah, this is the one. This is my choice. Um,
Alright.
as the one I'm going to be a fan of. Yeah.
Got it. Alright, well, let's play a quick game then. I wanna see if I can get a debate going between you 2. So I'm just gonna throw out some, like, classic horror films, and then we just say which one is your more favored film, or if you haven't seen one or the other, call it out, and let's have some fun with it. So, Children of the Corn or Arachnophobia, and these all just be random, okay?
Children of the Corn.
Yeah, fun fact, Children of the Corn, one of the other movies that scarred me as a kid. That intro of that film is terrifying.
Mhm.
So I will pick that one though, because it was fun.
Alright, Pet Sematary or Jaws?
Pet
Wow.
Cemetery.
Yeah, I gotta go Jaws on that one for sure. But I
Well,
love Pet
okay,
Cemetery. Yeah.
debate, come on.
Oh, it's for me, it's the sister. The sister gave me nightmares.
Zelda?
Oh my god, yeah, you remember the
Yeah.
sister?
Mhm.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the most terrifying characters for sure, but that shark,
Yeah.
it'll get you. Doesn't matter if you're in the
Yeah.
deep end of your swimming pool or a lake or whatever, it's there in your mind,
See, I have
so that stuck with me
submechanophobia. I don't
too.
know if you guys know what that is, but it's the fear of man-made things underwater.
Hmm.
Boats, anything sunken, anything like that,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely horrifying to me. Can't even think
Absolutely.
about it. Sharks don't bother
Yeah.
me at all,
But
but
what
a
about
sunken ship, I'll puke talking about it.
what
It
about what
grossed
a-
me right out.
what a- what about Bruce though? Because technically that is a handmade shark in the water.
Now that's the problem. So that's where I was getting with it, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on the Jaws ride at Universal Studios?
Yeah.
Way more terrifying for me than an
Yeah.
actual Jaws.
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny.
All right.
Yeah, well, not that you know, have this fear, that's not funny, but,
Sure.
We didn't know
yeah.
what it was for the longest time,
Oh,
and
wow,
there's
yeah.
an actual there's a thing for it. That's my phobia. It's submechanophobia. If you Google images, people think, "Oh, I might have that." Google it. If you go, "Ugh," when you
Yeah.
see the Google page, you've got it.
Then you have it.
All right.
That's
How
great.
about a couple more? Gremlins or Ghostbusters?
Oh, that's
Gremlins.
fun. That's fun. I'm gonna go with Ghostbusters. I love that cast, maybe a little bit more. Just
Hmm.
cast of comedians, yeah.
That's fair. I mean, to me, it's just because I loved the Mogwai.
Mhm.
Hmm.
When I was a kid, I wanted a Mogwai so
Yeah.
bad. I actually used to have like a little one. I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, you can't see him, but you can barely see maybe the lip of Jigsaw, but little Gizmo sitting right on top of my Jigsaw head right there. So yeah, he's a cutie for sure.
All right. All right, one more, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Let's go. Night of the Living Dead. Okay, again another classic. People Under the Stairs.
People Under the Stairs for me. Sorry, I love that movie.
Yeah, yeah,
You agree?
gotta go Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Splitting the crowd, kids.
I
Splitting the
know.
crowd.
That's a good one. I like that.
All right. Well, we'll have more games like this on future episodes. I like just seeing how you guys react to some of these. But yeah, I mean, where I was going to go with this, and this leads into our next topic, is many times we're looking for something that we want to see, and maybe we've seen everything recently. So you go back and you read, I don't know, a Reddit forum, and you say, okay, what are the scariest movies on Tubi, that I can watch right now? And one that popped up for me recently that I wanted to ask you guys about because I had not seen it, and about halfway through as we speak. It's called In the Mouth of Madness, and this is from director John Carpenter, who's obviously done many of the great classic films. But this movie came out in 1994, and
Yep.
this is about an author who disappears, and an investigator then is hired to essentially figure out what has happened to this author. And what they start to see is that many of these books, what is being written by this author, kind of comes to life and starts to impact him in real life. So, for you, how do you discover some of these classic films? Have you heard of this John Carpenter film, which I'm now just discovering for the first time? I'll turn it over to you first, Jordan.
So how do I discover them? Yeah,
Yeah.
I am a little lurker on the internet a lot of times, and sometimes
Hmm.
I like my favorite genre is going to be like gothic horror. Like that's my
Hmm.
jam. Like pretty much anything with creatures, fantasy, witches, that is my vibe. So I'm always kind of like on the periphery of that for like things I want to watch. So
Hmm.
sometimes I'm like, "Oh, you know what I really want to watch? I want to watch Sleepy Hollow from, 1999." Right?
Hmm.
And I wanna watch something with that vibe. So then I'll literally Google that, like, I wanna watch movies with this vibe, right? And it'll
Hmm.
give you a list and sometimes you find gems in there.
Yeah.
So if I'm lurking around on Google, sometimes I find them myself, or sometimes, like, a lot of the other creators, I mean, I will say a lot of the other creators introduce me to gems all the time when they're like, "Hey, if you like this movie, you might like this movie."
Hmm.
There were so many movies that other movie creators have, like, Chuck always tells me good movies. Chuck the movie guy, he's always on here too. But yeah, it's other creators are just my Googling little fingers.
Hmm. All right, Brian. How about you?
Yeah, I like the method of I loved this, I want more.
Hmm.
I'm obsessed with death game movies, movies where you have to play some sort of a game to survive, like
Like
a
Saw.
Cube or a Battle Royale or a Saw. And so yeah, I'll just like, Google death game movies, because I like, especially like in Cube, like there's a moment where someone figures out the math of how this thing works, and that moment of like it's like a Sherlock Holmes type of time where their
Hmm.
brilliance is coming to light, and they've been able to solve the mystery of the machine. And I love that. It's like playing in an escape room, which Escape Room is two movies that are also death game movies.
Hmm.
I love that stuff. So yeah, a quick Google search has me finding, stuff like that for sure. Um, yeah, creators for sure. Lately I pulled it up because I wanted to make sure I gave them credit, but lately I've been on YouTube watching kind of long form deep dives into movies I've never heard of, and this
Mm.
YouTuber's called Nightmare Movies, and they
Okay.
do that thing where the video has like a simple one line or one word, two-word line on the cover with a eerie image, and the title of the video is what gets me. And so one of these is, when horror hides in plain sight, and so it's all about in this video you're going to see the ghost of this film, except you'd never do until he points it out to you later in the video.
Hmm.
And I love stuff like that. And so recently, yeah, I've been hearing about these movies that I've never heard of before, and they sound so fun and interesting. So yeah.
Do you have a list of any of those, or what are some that you've checked out after watching these long form YouTube videos?
Yeah, so this is a movie, I think from the 90s, and it's called Ghost Watch.
Hmm.
And it's set up to look as if it is a news broadcast of a
Hmm.
news station going to a house of a family who claim that they have a ghost in their house. And it's laid out just like a live news. And for them to pull this off in the 90s is really something special. Like, this looks like a movie you would make today and date it back into the 90s and kind of give it that effect. But this is it.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, these videos kind of spoil the movies, and so that's why I'm not immediately going to watch the full film. But
Hmm.
it's on a list. It's something that I would definitely love to check out eventually. But that's one of them that I just was like, wow, this is so cool that they did this, back in the
Hmm.
90s. That's awesome.
All right. And Jordan, for you, like, what is one of your favorite movies from, let's say, pre 2000, right? That you've discovered online or through Chuck or through any of your other sources?
Pre-2000.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
I mean, you
okay,
don't have to
let's
go back to like the original Dracula per se, but
yeah, I'm
yeah.
trying to think of, like, a recent one that I've seen. Oh, you know what one I watched recently, like, within the last few months was
Hmm.
The Company of Wolves, and that was
Okay.
from the '80s, and it's, like, a lot of practical effects because I've been doing all my homework on werewolf movies in
Hmm.
preparation for Egger's Werewolf, right? So I'm trying to watch all of those things, and that one was fire. I was like, "Oh, this is such a weird little guy. Like, what a weird movie."
What
Another
is the
one
premise of that
actually
one?
that is similar to that vibe, like with the practical effects, is called High Society. I don't know
Mhm.
if you guys have ever seen that one, but it's a weird one for sure. So stuff like that, like it's always word of mouth, and it's usually like my friends that will say, "Have you seen this?"
Mm.
Right? Like, "Have you seen this?" And when I haven't seen something, they're like, "Oh, you have to watch this."
Yeah.
Like, so and that's how I find some of the weirder ones, and I'm like, "How did this evade my capture this long?"
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of High Society. I did not hear of the first one that you were mentioning, the wolves one. What
Company
is
of
the
Wolves.
yeah, company what is the premise of that?
Oh gosh, so it's like an '80s fantasy, and the sets are really cool, the wardrobe is really strange, and I would say about 20, 30 minutes into the movie, it goes from 0 to 60 into some insane practical effects, especially for the time. We're talking like werewolf transformations, like the good
Mm.
kind, right? Like really well done effects. And it's just really out there. The plot doesn't really make sense, but it's just worth the watch. And High Society, I would rank in the same vibe. Like it's just, it's one of those that just goes from 0 to 60 to absolute insanity. And again, like crazy practical effects. And these are, I think they're both from the '80s, if not '90s. So
Mm.
like definitely pre 2000. But oh yeah, definitely. If you guys haven't seen those weirdo ones and you like practical effects, then give them a go.
All right. There we go. Brian, any others that come to mind that you'd recommend to the channel?
Yeah, I'm trying to
I mean, there's
find.
greats like Poltergeist and others, right, that we've talked about before, and there's obviously the sci-fi horror like Alien and Predator and things like that. But buying you some time here as best I
Okay.
can
Yeah.
as you search ChatGPT or whatever you're going through. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I look at these Reddit lists or Letterbox or others, and I'm like, man, I have not heard of a third of these, and then another third I've heard of them, but I haven't watched for whatever reason. Then you got to dive in, figure out where it is. And some of these, like even like the fourth kind, right? Like it's on VOD. Like you have to rent or buy it. It's not streaming anywhere right now. So I was going to go do a rewatch of that, but um, couldn't find it unless I was going to swipe the credit card. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's,
There's a really weird French one that's called Le Vordelac. I don't know if you guys have heard of this guy, but it's a vampire one with crazy practical effects. Again,
mm,
it's French though, so like it just kind of depends on if you want to read subtitles, but it's definitely worth it. It's a weird guy that would hold hands with the other two that I recommended.
yeah.
I just want to throw that bone on the fire as well.
all right,
I, um
nice.
I just put a video out for my birthday, which was a couple weeks ago, and basically it just starts off with me saying, my birthday wish is for you to watch one of these movies that I recommend, especially if you've never
Okay.
heard of it, and hoping that people watch it and then maybe come back and was like, oh yeah, I love that. That was awesome. And speaking of French films, there's a two that I mentioned, and one is City of Lost Children with Ron Perlman, from the same director as Amelie, which is just it's weird. It's one of those weird, like it almost feels like a Guillermo del Toro
Hmm.
type of feel to it. So City of Lost Children, and then Brotherhood of the Wolf. Speaking of wolves, when you mentioned wolves, Jordan, I was like, oh yeah. If you haven't seen Brotherhood of the Wolf, that's another just a great movie that I happen to watch both of those kind of back to back. They're both French and really, really cool.
What's Brotherhood of the Wolf about?
I'll be honest, couldn't tell you. Right now, off the top of my head,
All right.
I could not tell you, and that
Is it
was
a
the
werewolf
nice.
movie?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's kinda actiony,
Mhm.
whereas Children or, City of Lost Children is a little bit more weird, Terry Gilliam kind of, underground French feeling to it, kinda dirty. Brotherhood of the Wolf is a little bit more fantastical, but with wolves, with werewolves.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so the nice thing about that video that I made is I didn't have to do deep dives on what the movies are about.
Mhm.
Because when you're recommending 30 movies, I don't have the time, to do the
Yeah.
log line or whatever. And so, but I just remember like watching them for the first time and being like, yeah, that has to be in the collection. And even though obviously I don't remember every single movie, I definitely
Mhm.
remember loving it so much that it's there and I have to share it with people. So yeah.
All right. So, wild card topic here that I want to run by you guys, just opinion, right? So, disaster movies. I've been teaching, especially my 5-year-old about, nature and, there's various floods and there's wildfires going on in Europe, and happening around the world. And so he gets curious and says, Dad, what are these tornadoes? How do they form? And, I can pull some information from my deep memory of being in some science classes in college and talking about air pressure and temperature drops and things. But ultimately, he's not interested in that lecture spiel, even if I'm 100% accurate. And so I'm like, why don't we just go put on the Twister movie
Twister, yeah.
and watch that, and then we'll watch the more recent Twisters, and we'll kind of go down that lane. He's been super enthralled by it, and the best part is my wife doesn't feel like that's over the top like Thrash was, the violent shark movie on Netflix
Mhm.
from a couple months back. So I'm allowed to watch, some horror films with the 5-year-old. So first, just to talk about Day After Tomorrow,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts of that, and what are some of your favorite classic disaster films?
I'm gonna tap right out of this one because I don't watch apocalypse movies.
No,
No, it's not on my radar.
all
Yeah.
right,
I don't know. I haven't even seen Armageddon, and I get a lot of
yeah,
shit for
Mm,
this. So like,
yeah.
it's just end of the world movies. I don't know. They just don't scratch my itch. So the only ones I've seen from that list is Twister.
hmm.
The closest I would say that I've seen is Tremors. I don't think that counts.
I mean,
That's
if tremors were
funny.
everywhere, that'd be real terrifying.
That's fun.
But, but yeah, no, that's another fun one, right? Because it's kind of like Jaws in the desert in
Yeah.
a way, right? But there's multiple of these earthworms, whatever they're, ultimately called, they
I
come
mean, you
out,
can use
so
the mummy to teach him about sandstorms.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So wait, so talk about Tremors. Like, why of all the movies, and that's a pre-2000s film, right? Didn't that come
Yeah.
out in the late '80s or early '90s?
Well,
Sure.
Tremors, I feel like isn't the Tremors and the Langoliers kinda like the same thing? Wasn't it, like, real similar?
Langoliers is like, yeah, those creatures like devour Earth or
They
devour
were like, they
planets or
were all
something.
yeah, they were like
Yeah,
creatures. I feel like the Tremors were, like, coming specifically from the Earth, and the Langoliers were, like, eating everything, right?
yeah, right,
But it
Mhm.
yeah.
was kinda like the similar vibes, I feel like, the stories. It's like, oh, like, it's disaster, they're coming, the creatures, right? So, I feel like that they kinda blend together for me, but Tremors was always got me just because I felt like it was so silly. It felt
Mhm.
like it was sandworms, right? It was like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, Langoliers actually, I think that's a great pull for a disaster film. Because it's there's another movie out there where like these people have to get on a plane and keep flying away from where the sun is setting. I don't know what it's called. I just remember hearing about that concept of whenever the sun rises,
Hmm.
you die. And so these people are
Okay.
on a plane
Were they
basically
vampires?
running away. No, just like basic, it's not even like cool like that. It's just
Hmm.
basic humans running away from the sun rising. And so they're,
See, if they were vampires, I might be interested.
right. No, this is
You know
very
what I mean?
basic.
I gotta have that weird.
Yeah,
I gotta have
but
a
And
monster
and
element.
they can't just post up a tent and go in the tent.
right.
Like,
Right, yeah.
what's the
It's
scenario here
something
where
something
the
the sun does. I don't know,
all right.
Like a speed, but with the
to
sun, just like
yeah, you have to outrun it and then like, "Oh no, we're running out of gas. We have to land. Hurry, fill up, go." I haven't even seen the movie. I just know that this thing exists. Langoliers at
Hmm.
least has creatures.
All right.
Yeah.
What year did Langoliers come out?
Oh gosh, I
90s.
couldn't tell you, but yeah.
It has to be
It's
90s.
See, I
Langoliers is
haven't seen that one, I don't think.
it's Stephen King, and it's a fun one for me because it was a fever dream movie that I couldn't figure out. I had this vision in my head of a girl being hurt on a plane,
Mhm.
um, something that happens at the end of the movie that I won't say, and a plane taking off as the runway is like being destroyed. That's
Mhm.
all that I remember. And so I asked my dad, "Do you remember like watching this movie?" And we couldn't figure it out. And randomly, I was watching a YouTube video and someone had brought up actually I don't even know what they brought up, but they used a clip from Langoliers, and it was
Mm.
the clip deep in my brain, and I was like, what is that movie? I That is it. And it was a great discovery, and I've since rewatched it, and of course I own it now. And so yeah, so Jordan, when you brought up Langoliers, I was like, oh, I have a fun little story about that one. Yeah.
Well, Cole, you haven't seen the Langoliers?
No, no, I may have, like, been in a room as that play I mean, like, it definitely sounds familiar, but I don't remember it the way that Tremors and some of the others that we've talked about is kinda seared into my mind, so yeah, I gotta go check that one out now, and along these lines, by the way, I was hoping one of you was gonna bring this up, but since you didn't, the trailer for Digger finally came out, with Tom Cruise, and that's also a big disaster film, right? And I don't know if it's gonna lean horror as much as just kinda satirical comedy,
Yeah.
things like, Don't Look Up, for instance, but this is from, Alejandro Inarritu, and as I said, Tom Cruise, Riz Ahmed, John Goodman, just a stellar cast. And this is basically about like a billionaire oil guy who has, basically amassed all this power, but he gets word that one of his innovations is basically going to destroy, humankind. And so he has to, literally get involved to save the day. And that's really all that the plot reveals up to this point. But this comes out in October, which I always thought was interesting because it's kind of counter programming, right, to all the horror films and such that we've been talking about. But in terms of just disaster films, is that one that you're excited about? Because the trailer got me pretty excited. I love, everything that Tom Cruise does as far as movies go.
Yeah, I saw a very extended trailer at CinemaCon, and right then and there I said that's probably going to be my movie of the year.
Hmm.
just because it hits on my interests in terms of filmmaking. To the point where when you said it's a disaster movie, I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I never thought about it that way because I'm not thinking about it that way. I'm looking
Yeah.
at how Inarritu approaches a film and how he's
Hmm.
putting these cameras wherever he wants to, and it's super wide, and they shot it in like 4:3, so it's going to fill up an IMAX screen. That's where my interest kind of leans more versus the actual plot, which is why when we talked about Digger weeks ago,
Hmm.
I couldn't tell you what it was about because I didn't care. I was just like, look at these visuals. This
Yeah.
looks great. Look at what Tom Cruise is doing. This looks great. And so, yeah, it is definitely at the top of the list.
Hmm.
And I think I'm probably going to walk away with it being my favorite of the year, unless, Werewolf and Clayface just completely takes over.
Hmm.
But the way that where my interest lies in film, definitely a little bit more weird than spooky, and so I think
Hmm.
that's why that's going to kind of have the edge for me. So yeah, I'm very excited about that one.
All right. So Jordan, as the anti end of the world movie person, is Digger going to be on your list, or are you going to skip it and wait to see
I
what
have to see
the?
the trailer first before I decide.
All
But I
right,
will
fair
check it out
enough.
because you guys made it sound really good. But it's going to be a hard sell for me with Tom Cruise. I'll be honest. I think his best role is Tropic Thunder.
Mm.
Okay, well that's perfect because this is basically that character, just older.
Sold.
There you go.
Brian just
He's an
sold me.
eccentric.
That's because I
This
don't want to
is
see Tom Cruise playing like
yeah,
the guy
yeah.
again. I want to see him do something different. I want to see him do
This is
something.
it.
He has range. He's a talented
Yeah.
actor, but I
Hmm.
feel like he's really put himself in a
Oh,
box for so long. I don't want to see another Mission Impossible. You feel me?
yes, you
Yeah.
I
are
want to see
correct.
something new. So if this is something new from Tom Cruise, I will go see it.
This
Well, wait,
is
wait, but Jordan, real quick, what about Collateral? What about his role as Vincent? Being in the back of the cab, right, as a
I'll have
serial
to let you
killer.
know if I see it.
yeah,
Oh my God, you have to see Collateral.
yeah.
I think that is literally the only movie I've seen in theaters 3 times, and that's from Michael Mann, and it was like one of the first times the red cams and like the night vision cameras were used because he wanted to show like LA at like dusk and in the darkness and all that, and not messing around with all the light effects that you were talking about before. So there's a lot of kind of natural elements that Michael Mann took advantage of. It's one of my favorite, not a horror film, obviously, at all, but a great action film and a very strong performance from Tom Cruise, where he's playing a bad guy, basically. And he
Okay.
talked about how there weren't a lot of rules like that, but he wanted to play a bad guy, and obviously we've talked about like Christian Bale, obviously also playing a serial killer and one of the best roles ever, right? Um, so yeah, to your point, it's very fun, to see some of these what I consider very talented actors and actresses have this range and take on these crazy characters. So, bringing it full circle, Digger, very high up on my list as well. And yeah, Jordan, check out the trailer after we wrap here, and tell us, if you're excited or if it's
Listen,
just
if I'm getting, Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise, I'm
yeah.
on board.
You're getting absolute. This is exactly what I said. What you're talking about is we haven't seen this character Tom Cruise since Tropic Thunder.
Hmm.
We've seen Mission Impossible, we've seen Top Gun, we've seen Action Star. One of my favorites
The whole time.
is Oblivion, but it's Tom Cruise just being an action star.
Yeah.
But you're getting old Tom Cruise, big belly, saggy
Okay,
man
deal.
boobs, and he's
Yeah,
just,
that's what I wanna see. I wanna
yeah,
see range. I feel
this
like
is
a
it.
lot of actors, and this isn't just Tom, this is a lot of people, they get stuck in a box and they're
Yeah.
playing the same role over and over again, they're typecast, and he
Hmm.
has more range than that, you know what I mean? He
Hmm.
he has the chops, he has the talent. So, yeah, I wanna see him
Yeah.
with a belly. Yeah, I wanna see him
Yeah.
doing something out of his comfort zone where he isn't the hero. Of course, I wanna see that because he can. So
Yeah.
do it, show us. That's what
I
I
th-
wanna see.
I
So,
think that I
yeah,
think
I'll
this is
I'll
his
watch the trailer, but
Oscar.
I'm sure.
I think this is the Oscar for
Oh,
best
okay then.
for
Cool.
best
Yeah, is that
actor.
what he's going for?
I think
He's
so.
going for the
Yeah.
Oscar.
It's not like, oh, look at me, weepy, actor. It is, I am the most eccentric looking person I've ever been in my career. And I think it's going to take it because of that.
Hmm. Good to
Excellent.
know. Yeah, I'm excited to watch the trailer.
Yeah, the only other comment on this is Inarado has been developing this since he finished The Revenant. So it's been almost 10 years, 11
Yeah.
years now since he kind of conceived this. So when you put that kind of time with this kind of talent
Yeah.
into a project, I think it's going to be a massive hit. And just very intrigued as well, like I said, with the October release date, because it means that they think that this is going to carry into, Thanksgiving timeline and potentially into mid-December and the Christmas timeline as well. So, yeah, let's see if he pulls it off. But yeah, the poster is fantastic, and the trailer is really really good. So I'm excited to get your reaction, Jordan. And on the casting side, and this is kind of a softball lob to you, Jordan, to take it any direction you want. If it wasn't Tom Cruise and Digger, if it was, I don't know, Brad Pitt, would you be more excited about it or less?
And less.
Expand, because I saw
Well, yeah,
your
well, I
reel
mean,
about Brad.
I think Brad Pitt's an
Yeah.
okay actor. I mean, he's amazing as Lieutenant Aldo Rain. He kills it as, Tyler Durden. There's so many roles that he absolutely eats up, but his range is not as wide as Tom Cruise's range is.
Mm,
So, Tom Cruise can play all the roles that Brad Pitt can play, maybe not Achilles, but I don't think it's vice versa. I don't think that Brad Pitt could cover all of Tom Cruise's roles.
were
So
you
I
a
would
fan
definitely
of?
go see Tom over Brad acting
Mhm.
wise. Um, but I don't know who I would put in that role because I'm unfamiliar with the trailer, so I have to watch it and see. Like you're
Alright.
asking who I would cast instead
Well,
of
no,
Tom.
it was just to let you go on your Brad Pitt rant.
Brad Pitt
I saw
tangent.
some of your videos that popped up. I'm a Brad
Oh, because
fan.
Brad.
I
Well,
like.
everyone was talking about Brad Pitt and Troy. Brad Pitt and Troy. Brad Pitt and Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt and Troy. And I was like, okay, guys, get off your knees for 5 seconds and
Yeah.
let's talk about the movie.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
could stop gooning to him for 3 seconds. We'll talk about it. Because I
Right.
asked, I was like, what's the deal with it? And it's just because, he was the it guy in the 80s and 90s. He was like the handsome guy. So I think a lot of guys, this is what I got from my comment sections.
Mhm.
A lot of guys were just like, he was the guy. So we wanted to be that guy because all the ladies wanted that guy. And I was like,
Mhm.
so it wasn't really his acting. It was more just the roles he played and the fact that all the ladies wanted him. And they're
Yeah.
basically like, yeah. And he was
Yeah.
ripped.
Okay.
All right. Were you a fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the
Yeah,
Tarantino?
I think he did great in that.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Benjamin
I
Button?
didn't really care for the ending, but they
Yeah.
changed what happened.
Yeah.
But that was the point, right? Like that was the point was to change it. But yeah, there's roles that he kills it in. I don't think that he's a
Mhm.
bad actor. I think he might not be the best guy from what we heard, but
Mm.
as an actor, he's good. But I still think Tom Cruise is more talented than him if we're comparing the two.
All right. Fair enough. Brian, any comments or thoughts on Brad Pitt while we're on that topic?
Yeah. Brad Pitt in 12 Monkeys
Mhm.
might be his best role in terms of not being Brad Pitt. Because yeah, we get a lot of Brad Pitt, kind of just like Tom Cruise, and I like
Mhm.
when I see range and Troy. I mean, he has muscles, more defined muscles. It's still Brad Pitt. I think of California and I think of 12 Monkeys Brad Pitt, and that's a cool Brad Pitt. That's a crazy Brad Pitt that we have not seen in a long time. He's got a new movie coming out where he's surviving with a dog, and it looks fine, but it's still Brad Pitt. It's still just basic Brad
Jacob
Pitt.
Elordi has the exact same movie coming out. It's
Also
like the
true.
dude with the
Mhm.
dog.
Yeah, also
It's the same
true.
movie. Like
Yeah.
it's the same movie.
Not I'll be honest, not interested. So,
Same. Like
In the
they
Elordi
couldn't
one
sell
or
me on
both?
those ones. Sorry, guys.
All right.
honestly, I'd rather watch the Brad Pitt one than the Jacob Elordi one. That one's still, I've seen that trailer. I saw it at CinemaCon. I saw it, before theaters, movie theaters playing. And, I'm just like, I know it's a Cormac McCarthy, I think maybe I'm way wrong there. Or maybe it's Ridley Scott. But, it's
The Brad Pitt
another,
one has a better dog. I
yeah,
like the
very
dog in
true.
the Brad Pitt one.
It's another,
I trained dogs for years, so I'm very partial to German shepherds.
It's
All
that,
right.
it's like The Road. Like, I don't wanna sit down and watch The Road. And that's what this Jacob Elordi movie looks like. It's just a
Hmm.
depression. I don't wanna see people trying to survive.
What is the title of the Jacob Elordi movie that
Yeah,
we're
I'm looking
trying
it
to
up.
alert our audience
We're
to
just
avoid?
taking a dump on it. I feel so bad. I've only seen the trailer.
Yeah, no, I saw the trailer once, yeah, and I didn't watch it twice. I'll leave it at that. But
Yeah. No,
Well,
I
we
don't.
saw the trailers for both of these films like back to back in the theater before the Odyssey, and we were like, "That's the same movie."
Mm.
It's the same movie.
Yeah, so Ridley Scott.
Armageddon,
So
Deep Impact. Yeah.
I think the reason I said Cormac McCarthy is because I was thinking of The Road in comparison of just
Mhm.
depressing things. So yeah, it's called The Dog Stars, directed by Ridley Scott. And then you have Heart of the Beast, directed by David Ayer. That actually interests me more, for sure. Executive producers Damien Chazelle. Okay, I'm
For
sold.
what, the Brad Pitt one?
Yeah.
On the
All
Brad
right.
Pitt one?
Yeah, I'm sold. I'll go see that one.
All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. Any other horror films that you guys want to recommend or shout out before we wrap today's conversation?
Coming up real soon in August is a movie called Buddy, directed by Casper Kelly. And I've
Hmm.
seen it, and it is incredible. It is absolutely wonderful. And the basic thing that to say about that is, what if Barney turned on the kids? And it is a freaking blast. Anyone who's a fan, anyone who grew up with Barney, anyone who's a fan of Pee Wee's Playhouse, and horror, you're going to get a kick out of it for sure.
Yeah, I saw an early screener to that as well. I agree. It's definitely a unique film. I think they pull it off a very challenging concept. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah,
Obviously, where what direction it goes, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, the scariest concept that I think most people figure out quickly is that these kids are essentially trapped in this like alternate universe. They're not just showing up to set and there's a bad
yeah,
guy, wearing a costume. It's like they're in this other dimension entirely, so it actually in some cases feels a little bit like backrooms, right? A little bit of
yeah.
liminal spaces trying to
Liminal
figure out how
space.
do I
Yeah,
get out of this environment. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that one does, and it's a
mhm.
true indie, so one that we should be celebrating. Jordan, any other recommendations that you want to shout out?
Um, I'm trying to think of what one, uh, if I just watched. I can't remember where it's where it's out on my list.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I we were talking about movies like 10 years or older,
Mm,
and I
Hmm.
made a little list. So,
Okay.
The
nice.
Autopsy of Jane Doe is a
Hmm.
sleeper that I always recommend. I think it's one of the ones that not a lot of people talk about. Genuinely a good movie. Um, I always mention Ghost Ship, as I
Hmm.
should, because it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then also another sleeper, Oculus. If you guys haven't seen that one, I
Ah,
think it's
yeah,
another sleeper.
yeah,
Yeah, one of the first from our good friends, right? So,
yeah.
all right. Fantastic. Well, thank everybody again for tuning in today and celebrating horror films and all things in theaters. So go check out Odyssey on the 70 millimeter screen if you can, and keep watching all these great horror films. So thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, listeners. And we'll talk again soon.